Hello, and welcome back to Fort Fee High's post-screening conversation. My name is Dilcy Barrera. I am a Sundance Film Festival programmer, and I would love to introduce the creators of Fort Fee High. Firstly, Maria Belén Poncio and Rosario Perasolo Masjuan. Welcome back, and I wanted to kick us off first by asking where are you currently? Where are you tuning in from? Rosario first.
Well,
okay. I am in my bedroom here in Córdoba, Argentina, and I'm very happy to be here now.
We're down to 28 hours then.
And Maria.
Hello. I am currently based in Córdoba, Argentina, but now, like since yesterday, I am on like little vacations, so I'm in Mexico. Yeah, so calling from here.
Well, thank you so much for calling in from your vacation. We really appreciate it. We're really excited to talk to you about this wonderful project that the audience just got to watch. We're so happy to talk about so much about the project, but in particular, the lead character is someone that is just so confident, but at the same time is searching for her place in school, place in the world, place in her family. Can you talk about where did this character Juana come from, and why did you want to tell this story in particular?
Sure, Rob, you want to start with this?
Okay, I think that in our city we don't have like so many people on the streets, people with disability on the streets, because our city is a place that is not accessible for example, a wheelchair. So in our culture, in our community, it's not so common to see people with disability around, and only the point to put a different body into a screen, it make a lot of noise in our society, because we have I don't know how to say it, but we have so many conditions to live around, to live freely. So in our point to show a person with disability in this story, it's not only talk about disability. We don't want to the whole point of the story is to talk about a story for a teenager, and put a person with disability in that point, and not make that the whole problem, the whole drama. We want to show how it's to live in a wheelchair here in our city, with our thoughts, with our people, and put that in a character who live in that body. And of course we want to show sexuality, politicity, I don't know how to say, but I think that for us was a challenge, because we don't have the representations here. So was a whole travel to make that in this story.
Mm-hmm. And also something that we always thought with Rosario when creating this universe was like we always are used to seeing disability from maybe like with a pity kind of or otherwise like hero, like this character to be like just a. We're used to watching like images of disability, like worker, or also sorry for her, or something like that. And then on the other side, we have like these heroic kind of images of disability, and we wanted like to have a person like a common teenager with the common questions that we all do at that age, and exploring her sexuality as we all do. So this character has a lot of our own experiences as women and teenagers that we were, combined in a way, and of course of all the other people that participated in the team. But we wanted this kind of rebel style of the character being about disability.
Yeah, this character is so unique in many ways. I love her. So can you talk us through the casting of this role? Did you have actors in mind? How was your search, and why in particular did Marisol stand out to you when you met her?
Well, this is something that Rosario was very straight at the beginning, that she thought that we needed someone with disability making this role. Not only because of the political aspect of this, like making these places and opportunities for people with disability, but also like the idea of having different and diverse bodies on the screen was very important for us. And it was a very, very difficult process. We did like a lot of castings. We were actually not finding someone that we like consider like the perfect Juana. And then, well, just some weeks before we start the pre-production, like finding all the people that had like put themselves to the online casting, we saw Marisol, and it was like, she has never acted before. It's the first experience for her, but I think she did like an incredible job. Like, she was very available. She was very subtle also in her performance, and we adapted a lot the character to what she had to, and what of her own experiences, but also of her body. Like, we had to adapt a lot the script for her, but this was very interesting because it also made it more real and more authentic. And then on the other side, like, she was really transformed in her own life by all the process of rehearsing and of finding and creating the character. So it was like a back and forward between Juana and Marisol transforming each other. She was, for me, she was like, she's like really talented, and she did an amazing job.
Yeah, she was wonderful. Is there anything you would like to add, Rosario?
I think that I'm a person with disability. In the community, we are like very strong with this feeling that we don't need person acting like a person with disability. We need person with disability acting in a character. And it was a very hard search, like Belu said, because in Argentina, we don't have like actors with disability on the screen, on the movies. We don't have that, and we don't have accessibility to study drama, to study acting, to study. We don't have that, so was very difficult to find a girl in a wheelchair who will like to participate in this project, because it's, we don't have the skills to do this. Because so for me it was so emotional, the process to look a person with disability, because a lot of girls in our city, in Buenos Aires too, thought like, oh, I can act, I can be an actress, because these people are doing a casting and they are looking for me. And was very powerful because a lot of persons that went to the casting starting to think I can study classes for acting and that stuff, and make like an opportunity in this place, and was very powerful for us and for the people in our community to make only the casting was a very powerful experience in ourselves and others too.
Wonderful. That's
Yeah, and also another like anecdotic thing is that Marisol, for example, she couldn't be able to go to the presential casting that we did in Buenos Aires. We did two, and she couldn't go because of the logistics. And then when we saw her, like her video, and then we asked her like particularly to go to a casting, then she did like everything she could to assist. But it's like there are a lot of barriers for this to happen, and we had to like move them and try to facilitate in a way the possibility for them to go to the castings.
Yeah. That's wonderful that she was able to make it because she just shines on screen so much. And speaking about shining on screen, let's talk about the elements of animation. How and when did you decide that this one was going to be part of the story? Why did you think that this would add to the character Juana's emotions and expressions? And at what point did you decide to start working with animators to add this element?
Well, at the beginning of the project, the producer Ezequiel had proposed the idea of having at the beginning and at the end of the episodes like an animated world for starting and finishing the episodes. And we thought it was a great idea, and then we started like thinking it more, and we thought it would be great to include them like to the video. And also, I remember when I met Rosario, she told me that being in a wheelchair made her be a person that observes a lot and that goes a lot to her mind. So I think that from that idea and from that concept, we say, okay, let's get inside the character and not only see what she sees and outside the world, but also be in her mind, her feelings, and try to share that also. No? So more or less, this was the beginning, and the process was very beautiful because also Marisol actually draws. She makes drawings, like very beautiful drawings. So we could mix like during the shooting, adding the drawings of her, of the character of Juana, like making drawings, and then connect these to the animations that we did later and that were made by a lot of artists from Córdoba. And it was a very, very interesting process to understand how she was feeling in each of this moment and how she gets into mind, and invites people also to be there with her.
That's wonderful. Rosario, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I think in that Bill said everything. That's great.
Yeah, and another element that I love of the series in particular is the music. The music adds so much, and I just wanted to ask you how important was the element of sound and music for you, how important it was to tell this story, and how did you choose the various songs for each episode?
Well, actually, on the one side, we really try to get the universe of young people nowadays. We were really interested in that, like to be very loyal or to how they live, how they move, how they talk, how they relate to each other. So we did like several observations in schools, and we talked with a lot of people of that age, and we understood that music is a very important part of their life, and mainly this kind of urban music that it's, and at least in Argentina, it's very like in the wave and the cool thing right now. And it's very interesting what teenagers are making regarding music and trap. So we decided to be music very present in the series to also be and share this experience of being that age that is full of music and freshness and trying to get to this mood. This was like the main reason for the research of the music and the sound also.
It works so well. It's one of my favorite elements, and I just wanted to point it out because I'm sure a lot of people recognize some of the songs. I just wanted to get into the form. This is a series with episodes. Why was this the best way to tell the story? Obviously, there was a short that came before, but there was an option of maybe a feature. Why was a series best for this story, for Juana's story?
When we started, we thought that we want to talk about so many points about disability, but not disability. Like the points we touch with the disability. And when we start, we always want to do a series, but we start like a pilot or a short film with Forfeit Land Day. We do that, but after when we make the screen, the sorry, I don't know how to say it, los guiones,
The screenplay or the script?
the scripts, like, yeah. When we do that, we thought like we want to talk about so many things, and we cannot do it in one short, in one thing. So in that we like start to distribute, like we want to talk about this, how to put it in this chapter, and how we can create characters to show in the story, and to make a whole universe. And for that we need like time, we need like other characters, we need, and that was like the beginning of the idea.
Yeah, and also we think that as we like make this story mainly to a young audience, like teenagers and 20s, so we think that this is the format that they consume the most also. And then it's an important point that we began with the idea of the VR only, and then we understood that the VR it's very interesting and very powerful, but it's also like limited in the accessibility of a lot of people to get to the content. So from the VR, like we decided to go also for the flat in order to be able to reach more people with this story that we think it's very important.
That's wonderful. And for anyone that doesn't know, this project is also has a sister project in some sense, 4 Feet High, the VR project that is screening in or playing in our New Frontier section. And we encourage everyone to check that out. And they will be also speaking about the VR elements of it after that project. So I hope you guys make the time to go watch that. I want to thank you both, Maria Belen and Rosario, for being with us. Is there anything else you want to add to the audience that just watched this series before we end?
I know, maybe for us it's really important, like to talking about like women's sexuality and being us the one who talk about this, because for years it has been represented by men, and they have created like a way of living it and discovering it that not necessarily has to do with our reality. So I think it's good for us to challenge us and to take the risk to talk about this and to talk about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me the same, and encourage the people to write their own stories, and not let others to talk about something that is not going through their body. It's very important to be present in the making of something, in making a project, in making a piece. Get involved in someone that you feel like is important to tell, like in a correct way, and show the reality of that, and not let others to talk about that. and it's very important to be present in that process. So encourage the people to work with other people in cinema, and the people who don't work in cinema to encourage to start working that, because we need them.
Yeah, I am completely enamored with you guys in the project. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and giving everybody in the audience a little bit more insight into what went into making this. Say hello to all the cast, all the crew. We appreciate everyone. We are so thankful that you guys were part of Sundance. And so I just want to say gracias and saludos and goodbye, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.